My 7-year-old noticed the family tree on my parents' hallway wall and asked, "Where are we?" My mom answered, "Let's not ruin the moment." There were 38 names, everyone except me and my son. I took a steady breath and said, "Then your name won't be on the list for the family vacation." That's when the panic began. I'm Grace, 35, a single mom to a 7-year-old boy named Caleb. We live in Asheville, where I work as a financial analyst. It's just the two of us. My parents live about 20 minutes away. They're the traditional Southern type, big on routine and Sunday dinners. My older sister Lauren lives 5 minutes from them with her husband and their 3 kids. My younger brother Matt is married too and has been struggling financially since their second baby arrived. I help them when I can. Paid their rent once, bought groceries more times than I can count. I never saw us as a flawless family, but I believed we were still a family until last Sunday. We were all at my parents' house for a casual afternoon. Burgers on the grill, iced tea, nothing special. While we were talking, Caleb walked down the hallway, and a few minutes later he called, "Mom, where are we?" I went to see what he meant and found him standing in front of the big wooden family tree that has been on that wall for years. It's custom-made, painted branches, little gold nameplates organized by generation. Our family always talked about how detailed and beautiful it was. Caleb was pointing to the section where our name should have been, but I didn't see us. 38 names across 5 generations. My parents, my sister and her husband, their 3 kids, Matt, his wife, their new baby, even my dad's cousin who moved to Florida in 1994. But not me. Not Caleb. I checked every part of the tree, under the branches, the corners, thinking maybe we were added somewhere small. We weren't. That's when my mom came around the corner. She looked at the tree, then at us, and said, "Let's not ruin the moment," as if it wasn't already ruined. I didn't argue. I just said the first thing that came to mind. "Then your name won't be on the list for the family vacation." She didn't react much, but I felt the tension shift. The room went quiet, in that way where everyone senses something serious. The vacation was entirely my idea. I had just received my year-end bonus and booked a 7-bedroom beach house in Charleston for all of us. My gift. No one else had to pay anything. I wanted it to be special for Caleb, time with his cousins, a week that felt like what family should feel like. Lauren had already started planning themed dinners. Matt said the timing was perfect. They were excited, and I was making it possible. But apparently, I wasn't important enough to be included on a wooden tree. Lauren tried to step in calmly, saying I should take a breath and that it had to be a mistake. My mom claimed the artist wasn't finished, that it was temporary, that of course we were part of the family. Yet no one mentioned anything about it until now. The tree had been updated months ago, refinished, displayed like a showpiece. Everyone else was added, just not me and my son. I told them I'd be canceling the vacation, or maybe going with Caleb and a few close friends instead. I wasn't willing to pay for a family trip when we weren't considered part of the family. That's when the real panic set in. Matt went pale. His wife looked close to tears. My sister begged me not to make a hasty choice. My dad came in from outside asking what was happening, and I stood there, listening to them defend something that no longer felt like family to me. Deep down, I knew this wasn't about a missing name. It was about a decision they had made long before. I didn't wait for explanations. I walked into the kitchen and pulled out the folder where I kept all the vacation paperwork, rental agreements, confirmation emails, every detail I'd organized for months. Lauren followed, speaking carefully, asking if I was really doing this. I said I wasn't interested in passive-aggressive damage control. We were either part of the family or we weren't. There was no middle ground where I paid for everything while being left out. She said it was probably a mix-up, that our mom must have forgotten to include my name when sending the list to the artist. Just a technical mistake. A technical mistake that left off the only single parent in the family, the only grandchild without a shared last name, the one person who never asked for help but consistently contributed. I reminded her that we had literally discussed the family tree over coffee a month earlier. She showed me pictures of how great it looked and said she couldn't wait for the kids to see it. She called it perfect. So no, it wasn't an oversight. It was intentional, and I should have seen it sooner. Then Matt walked in, holding his phone, like he was about to read something official. He said we should all calm down and think about how this would affect the kids. His daughter was excited for the trip, and canceling would hurt her. I told him what I should have said years ago. Maybe he should have considered his kids before allowing our family to erase mine. He froze. His wife avoided eye contact. I asked if he remembered April, when they couldn't pay rent, and I sent them $2,200 without hesitation. Or when I bought their toddler's car seat because they said money was tight. Or when they had COVID last year, and I drove an hour to leave groceries and diapers on their porch. And yet, none of that earned us a spot on the tree. Then he said something that made my jaw clench. He said Caleb wouldn't even remember this, that I was projecting, and maybe this wasn't about him at all. I walked past him and went straight to my mom, who was sitting on the couch pretending to scroll her phone while we argued a few feet away. I asked her one question. Why? She said I was being dramatic, that the artist didn't have space for everyone and they had to choose who to include. They made their choice, and now I would make mine. I told them I was canceling the family vacation immediately. I'd planned something new for Caleb and me, maybe with friends, maybe just us, but no one else would be invited. Matt got nervous and asked if I was serious. They had already taken time off. They couldn't afford to plan another trip on such short notice. I told him that wasn't my responsibility anymore. Then he asked the bigger question. Does this mean you're cutting us off? Yes. Even with the baby? Yes. Even though we're struggling? Yes. I reminded him that I had a child too, one they all seem to forget existed, and that I would rather invest in a life where Caleb is valued than keep supporting people who wouldn't give him a place on a family tree. No one pushed back after that. Maureen looked like she might cry but stayed quiet. My mom mumbled that she didn't expect things to turn out this way. My dad still hadn't spoken. I didn't raise my voice, didn't demand apologies. I just gathered our things, took Caleb's hand, and left. On the drive home, I kept thinking about the years I'd spent trying to stay close to people who clearly viewed family differently than I did. To them, I had been the backup, the problem solver, the financial safety net, the outsider who made things easier. Not anymore. Monday morning, I woke up early, sat at the kitchen table with coffee and my laptop. Caleb was still asleep, curled in his dinosaur blanket, like he always is after weekends at my parents'. Except this time, there had been no goodbye from my mom, no wave from the porch, no message asking if we got home safely. I logged into my account and canceled the beach house. 7 bedrooms on Folly Beach with a private pool and a grill. Gone in seconds. I lost the deposit. It hurt. About $900, but not more than watching Caleb stare at a tree where he didn't exist. and not more than realizing my help had been accepted but never respected. By noon, the family group chat started lighting up. Lauren was first, as usual. She sent a long message saying things escalated too quickly, insisting it was an oversight, explaining Mom just wanted the tree balanced. I didn't reply. She sent another message saying her kids were upset and had already bought beach gear. Then Matt texted privately. He asked if I had really canceled everything. I said yes. He asked what they were supposed to do now. I reminded him that wasn't my responsibility. He sent a thumbs-up emoji, then followed with a long message about how everyone goes through hard times and family should help, especially when children are involved. It was ironic. I had spent the last 3 years doing exactly that, helping quietly. I took a screenshot of the cancellation and sent it to the group chat with a clear note. Vacation is canceled. Caleb and I will make our own plans. I will no longer be providing financial help to anyone in this family. Please don't contact me for support, favors, or money. Caleb and I won't attend family events unless we are included from the start. Then I muted the chat and closed the laptop. I expected silence. Instead, I got anger. That night, I had 6 missed calls from Matt and 2 from my mom. Matt left a voicemail sounding both panicked and irritated. He said they had counted on the trip and that it was unfair to cancel when they had no time to plan something else. He mentioned the baby, said they needed formula, that they were behind on bills. He claimed I humiliated them, that his wife cried for hours, and that I was punishing his family for something unrelated to them. Except it was related, all of it. Every person who looked at that tree and said nothing. Every person who accepted help but never included my son. Every person who quietly agreed that Caleb and I were somehow less. I didn't respond. The next day, my dad called. Unusual, since he only calls when something serious happens. He asked if we could talk privately. I said no. He asked if the 3 of us, him, me, and Caleb, could have dinner. I asked why. He said he wanted to fix things. I asked if we were on the family tree now. He said that wasn't the point. I hung up. Later, Lauren posted a family photo from last Christmas. Everyone smiling around the fireplace. Her caption read, "Family is everything. You fight, you forgive, you move forward." Subtle, unless you knew the context. I ignored it but saved the photo. When I zoomed in, I saw myself half-cropped on the edge of the picture, holding Caleb on my lap. It made me wonder how long I had been fading from their view. On Thursday, while Caleb and I ate frozen pizza on the couch, he asked if we were still going to the beach. I told him, not with everyone else, but yes, just us or maybe with friends. He thought for a moment and asked if we could bring the metal detector we used at the lake last year. I said yes. That night, I booked a small 2-bedroom cottage near Tybee Island, right on the sand, a porch swing, a simple kitchen, and no shared group plans, no committees, no guilt, just me and my son. I've spent years adjusting myself to stay connected to people who never met me halfway. I'm done doing that. I'm building something different for Caleb, a life where he never has to wonder where he belongs. Because wherever we are, we belong. The morning we left for Tybee Island, I felt a kind of relief, like letting go of something I didn't realize had been weighing me down. It wasn't just the trip. It was finally stepping away from people who needed my support but never valued my place. Caleb picked the music, mostly movie soundtracks and odd mashups he loves. We stopped for breakfast at a diner with pancakes bigger than my plate. He spilled syrup everywhere, and I didn't care. We arrived at the cottage around 2 p.m. It wasn't fancy, but it was ours. 2 bedrooms, a porch swing, and the ocean just steps away. That night, we fell asleep watching a nature documentary. For the first time in a while, I didn't feel tense. By the next day, I finally caved and checked my phone. I didn't intend to, but curiosity won. It was chaos. Missed calls, long messages from Lauren trying to mediate, vague comments from Matt, and a message from my mom saying, "We need to talk." I ignored them. But one message I couldn't ignore. An email from Rachel, the wife of Matt's best friend. I almost deleted it until I read the subject line. "You deserve to know what's being said." The email was short but devastating. She said she didn't want to stir trouble, but felt I should know Matt had been talking about me since the vacation was canceled. He told people I had a breakdown, that I was unstable and controlling. Then he said something that made me stop reading. He claimed no one really knew who Caleb's father was, and that was why we weren't on the family tree. I felt frozen, not angry at first, just hollow. He didn't just attack me, he attacked Caleb, a child who had done nothing but try to be part of the family. A child who still makes handmade cards for people who forget his birthday. And all I could think about was how many times I had quietly supported Matt, paid his bills, and protected his privacy. That was the final line. I closed the laptop, stepped onto the porch, and watched Caleb play in the sand. He had no idea that someone who had called him Buddy at Thanksgiving had said something so cruel behind his back. He was happily digging a hole for a plastic shark, humming to himself. I promised myself, never again. The rest of the trip, I didn't check my phone. We built sandcastles, roasted marshmallows on the stove, and watched the waves. On the last night, I asked Caleb what he wanted for our next adventure. He said, somewhere cold, maybe with snow. So that's where we'd go next. When we got home, I started organizing. I printed the email. Then I printed every bank record showing the financial help I'd given Matt over the past 3 years. Rent, groceries, car insurance, adding up to more than $14,000. Then I did something I should have done long ago. I called my Uncle Alan. He's my mom's brother. Quiet, observant, not one for drama. He's also on the board of a private elementary school in Asheville, one I had wanted Caleb to attend but never felt comfortable asking about. Told him everything. The tree, the vacation, the years of being excluded, the money I gave, and finally, what Matt said. He didn't interrupt. He didn't try to soften anything. He said one simple thing. You've carried them longer than they ever carried you. Then he told me to expect a call from the school's director. I hung up feeling different. Not vindicated, not angry, just grounded. Like the dust had settled, and I could see clearly. For years, I believed the right thing was to keep peace, stay quiet, be the helper, the bridge, the reliable one. But now I understood. If you stay silent too long, others start writing your story for you. Not anymore. 2 days after speaking with Uncle Alan, the school called. Jennifer from admissions introduced herself and said she wanted to schedule a tour for Caleb. No waiting list, no forms to fight through, no long pitch. She said, Uncle Alan speaks very highly of you. We'd love to meet your son. That call meant more than just the school. It was hearing the words, we'd love to meet your son. No hesitation, no pretending we didn't exist. I hung up, sat back, and breathed. Then there was a knock. It was my mom. No text, no warning, just her at the porch with a Tupperware container and the rehearsed smile she always wore at family events when she intended to brush things under the rug. I didn't invite her in. She said she had leftovers. I told her we didn't need them. She hesitated, then asked if we could talk for a minute. I stayed in the doorway, Caleb in the back playing video games. She glanced toward him like she wanted to see him. I didn't let her. She said they planned to add my name and Caleb's to the family tree. She said it quietly, like a gift, a peace offering. I stared. I didn't say thank you. I remembered every Christmas Caleb and I had sat on the edge, every birthday where his name was an afterthought. Every time my siblings were celebrated while I was told to understand why there wasn't room for more. She explained they hadn't intended to hurt anyone. The tree was supposed to be a simple project. I said simple, and yet you made it complicated. She tried to hand me the food again. I didn't take it. Then she asked the question I hadn't expected. What do you want from us? For once, I answered honestly, nothing. Because it wasn't about wanting more. It was about respect, inclusion, acknowledgement. When those things have to be asked for, they lose meaning. She stood a moment longer, holding the food, then left. The next day, an unexpected letter arrived. Handwritten, no return address, but I recognized the handwriting immediately. It was from Matt. I hadn't spoken to him since the fight, and assumed he was still spinning the story. But this letter wasn't what I expected. It wasn't long or polished. He didn't defend himself. He didn't beg. He just said he was sorry. He admitted he crossed a line talking about Caleb, that it was cruel and spiteful. He said he wouldn't blame me if I never spoke to him again. He acknowledged that he'd been telling people I lost it or tried to control everyone. The truth, he said, was that I had every reason to walk away, and he knew I had helped him more times than he deserved. Then he wrote something I wasn't ready for. I got used to you always showing up. I never asked why. I just assumed you would. I think that's what broke everything. I started expecting it instead of being grateful. He said he missed Caleb. His daughter had been asking about her cousin. He ended with, I'd like to start over if you let me. I know I don't deserve it, but I'd like to try. I read the letter twice, then a third time after Caleb fell asleep. I wasn't ready to forgive him. I wasn't sure I trusted him. But I knew one thing. This letter wasn't performative. It wasn't like my mom's speech or Lauren's neutral text. It felt raw, clumsy, human. He'd never been that honest with me before. I didn't call him back. I didn't write. I didn't throw it away. I tucked it into the folder with the screenshots, receipts, and Rachel's email. But this time, it didn't feel like evidence. It felt like the start of something different. Maybe not reconciliation yet, but more than silence. The anger inside me didn't burn. It just waited quietly. Maybe that was the beginning of something new. I had already made peace with not seeing them again. That was my quiet decision. No speeches, no confrontation, just a slow fade. I was building a new life. Intentional, honest, smaller, but real. And I liked it. So when Caleb came home from school with a construction paper invitation, I didn't flinch. I assumed it was from a classmate. I didn't expect it to be from my niece, Matt's daughter. Crooked handwriting in purple with glitter. A folded invite for her 8th birthday at the community park near the old elementary school we used to walk to after church, back when everything seemed fine. Caleb lit up like it was Christmas morning. He asked if we could go. He missed her. They used to be cousin best friends. I wanted to say no. Everything in me wanted to say no. But I realized I had protected him enough. This was his choice. So I said we'd go, just for an hour. The park was busy. Streamers, balloons, folding tables, a unicorn piñata. Matt and his wife had gone all out. I parked across the lot and considered keeping my sunglasses on. The tension didn't ease, even as Caleb ran off, laughing, joining the other kids. I stayed at the edge, arms crossed, phone in hand, watching. After about 15 minutes, Matt noticed me. By the food table, he froze, then walked over quietly. "Thanks for coming," he said. I replied, "We're here for Caleb." He nodded and handed me a folded sheet of paper, a new print of the family T. Same style, same border, but this time my name and Caleb's were included, properly placed, equal branches. I didn't respond. I just stared. Matt didn't push. "I know it won't fix everything, but it's a start." "I'm sorry, Grace, for all of it," he said, then walked away. I held the paper carefully. I wasn't sure what I felt. Anger, relief, sadness, maybe all at once. I stood there, watching Caleb sprint across the grass with cake in hand, laughing like none of the weight I carried existed. When the party ended, Matt walked over again with his daughter, who gave me a cupcake for Caleb. Her eyes were bright, kind, just like Matt's had been once. Before we left, Matt said one last thing. "We'd love to see you both again sometime. No pressure." That night, Caleb fell asleep early, frosting on his chin, cupcake box beside him. I sat at the kitchen table, looked at the family tree. It didn't undo the past, but it was different now. It was a choice, not theirs. The next morning, a text from Lauren appeared. Just a photo of the framed family tree at my parents' house, with our names included. I didn't feel like an outsider. I wasn't chasing acceptance or trying to be good enough. I didn't respond. I closed the message, watched Caleb play in the yard, and allowed myself to feel something I hadn't in years. Closure. They hadn't fixed everything. Probably never would. But Matt's letter, the invitation, the tree, they were real. Honest gestures. Small cracks of light in a long tunnel. And maybe that's how healing starts. Not with a grand apology, but by showing up, again and again. And this time, I'd finally let them.